Okay, solving the right triangles. So I wrote a generic triangle up here that I'm just going to keep editing over and over again. The first question, they tell you that angle A is 43 degrees. So you got to put 43 in here. Now, they tell you the important thing to understand about the triangle again, the generic one, the side A, little a, is across from angle A, right? Across. The side little b is across from the big B. And then the side C, the hypotenuse, is across from the right angle, angle C. So now they tell you that the C is 8. So they're giving you the hypotenuse. They also asked you to figure out what the side little a is. But really, you should just call this the opposite side because that is what it is. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that little a, which is across from angle A. So which of the trig guys go with opposite hypotenuse? So, stupid old hobo, or silly old hag, whatever you want. So the sine of angle A is the opposite side over the hypotenuse. I am given angle A. It's 43 degrees. The opposite side is what I'm looking for. You could call it little a, you could call it x, I don't care. The hypotenuse is 8. Now all I have to do is move that 8 over to the other side, right? Get rid of it from the bottom, cross multiply, do the crisscross. And there you go. Now you have no choice at this point. You have to do it on the calculator. You have to hit 8 times sine 43. Oh, glare. There we go. Better. I got 5.45. And I said round to the nearest tenth, the nearest 1 decimal place. So you round up to 5.5. So that's the first one. Okay, number 2, you're given that angle A is 65. And you're given that B, side B, which is across from angle B, is 15. And they're asking you to find side C, which is the hypotenuse. Now, again, I have angle A. The diagonal is the hypotenuse. There's never mystery there. This is always, the diagonal is always the hypotenuse, the one across from the right angle. So all you have to do is determine which one is opposite and which one is adjacent. This side right here, this 15, is touching this angle. This side over here is opposite. I don't need that side. I need this side. That's the one I was given. So I need a trig guy that goes with A and H. Children are happy, horrible, hungry, whatever. So there you go. You need to use the cosine, dude. So make your generic equation first, that the cosine of angle A is the adjacent side over the hypotenuse. You write that first. Then you fill in what you know. I know that angle A is 65. I know the adjacent side is 15. They gave it to me. The hypotenuse is what I don't know. I am missing this side. So now this is where you do the true crisscross. I need to trade places with these. The letter I'm solving for is on the bottom. So I'm going to move that letter up and I'm going to move the cos 65 down. This is the trade that you want to make. You want the C up there, don't you? You don't want the C on the bottom. You got to move it to the top. So cross multiply it. This goes down. So you're going to do 15 divided by cos 65. And again, this is what you have the calculator for. You can't do it without it. So you hit 15 divided by cos 65. Whoops. All right, put some crazy shit in there. Cos 65. I meant to hit my parentheses. Let me avoid the glare. There we go. 15 divided by cos 65. And I got 35.49. 35.49. 35.5. That's the missing side. You got to make sure this side is bigger than that. Now that's pretty big, but it's not unreasonable. I mean, if this side was 350, something's a little off. If this side were less than 15, remember the hypotenuse is the longest of the three sides. The diagonal is the longest. So if this side had been less than 15, then that would mean that I have screwed it up. I'm going to do 3. Okay, problem number 3. I'm repairing the broken video where every question except the first 2 got completely killed. This problem, I would say that close to 75% of the class got fooled and got it wrong. And the reason is very simple. I gave you A and B. Now, I put the triangle the way I did on the sheet. So A would go here, B would go here. Now, the key is that I asked you for angle B, which is up there. So when you do the opposite and the adjacent, right, you're not given the hypotenuse. So I know for a fact it's going to be tangent. That's a little secret. If you ever see the hypotenuse missing, you immediately know it's tan, because tan is the only one that doesn't use the hypotenuse. So, but if you do this, it's tangerines or apples. It's opposite adjacent. This is not the opposite side. And yet again, this is what 75% of the class did. You have to be very careful. In relation to B, this is the opposite side, and this is the adjacent side. So your equation is going to be this. Tan of B is 7/4. Now, when you want the angle, you have to do the opposite of tangent, which is inverse tangent. And you can't do this without the calculator. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to hit inverse tan, second tan, 7/4, and enter. And I got 60.25, which keeps showing on the screen there. There's the inverse tan. I didn't close my parentheses, but you don't need to. Usually when I got 255, so I'll do 26. Usually when I do the angles, I usually go to 2 places. Sides, I usually do 1 place. All right, so that's number 3. I'm going to try to bang out 4, 5, and 6. Okay, question 4. I give you side A is 11. And I tell you that angle A is 57 degrees. I didn't put the degree symbol there, and it looks horrible there. I want to figure out what the side B is. So once again, nothing with the hypotenuse, nothing. I have an opposite and an adjacent and an angle, so I know it's going to be tangent. So my equation I'm going to set up is going to be that the tangent of 57 is equal to, now, we're talking about angle A. In the previous problem, I was using angle B, and this side down here on the bottom was the opposite side. Since I'm now using angle A, the opposite side, the opposite side and the adjacent side depend on the angle. They're not always the same, so you have to be very careful. So this is the opposite, and this is the adjacent. So tangent is, right, TOA, tangerines or apples. It's opposite side over the adjacent side. Now, remember what I said in class. It's really easy to just trade these, right? You're going to put the B up here and the tan 57 down there. You don't do this all the time, right? You only do this when the letter is on the bottom. Some of you did this on like every single question, and it just doesn't make sense. So again, I make an equation. I set up what I'm going to enter in the calculator, and then guess what? I'm going to enter it in the calculator. So 11 divided by tan 57. Once again, I hit equal. I got 7.14. A little less blurry. Yeah, 2 places, fine. So the missing side is 7. It makes sense, right? The side can't be something ridiculous like 0.02. It also can't be something like 150. It doesn't make sense that one side of the triangle is 11 and the other side is, 3 figures. So again, always ask yourself if the answer kind of sort of makes sense. Okay, question 5, another angle one. Hey, like the angle ones. So this time I actually give you the hypotenuse. I give you side A tell you it's 7. I give you side C, I tell you it's 10. And I'm looking for angle A this time. So in relation to A, right, this is adjacent because it is touching A. This is across from A, so it's opposite. And then obviously this is hype. That's always hype. So I have op, hype. So that's going to be sine. So the sine of angle A, well, I don't know angle A, but I know it's the opposite side over the hypotenuse. So I build my equation. Now I got to put something that I'm going to put in the calculator to figure out what angle A is. I need to do the opposite of sine. Divide both sides by sin. Yeah, sure. Right? The opposite of sine is his inverse, which we call sine minus 1. Right? I don't use the other word. They have names. I don't use those names. So I'm going to do inverse sine of 7 over 10. Again, do the same thing. I press second, sine, 7 over 10. And then this time I did close my parentheses. Then I hit enter. Oh, wow, 44.4. At least it wasn't 44.444. So angle A, I got 44, I got 0.427. So I'm going to round it to 43 degrees. All right, so there you go. Again, I was given the opposite and the hypotenuse, so I had to use sine. I was looking for the angle, so I must use the inverse function. All right, so now we just have to do number 6, and then we're done. All right, question number 6. I give you the hypotenuse is 28, which is actually pretty big. And then I give you angle A, again, on the bottom of the triangle is 31. And this time I'm looking for side B. I know my B sometimes looks like a 6. What can you do? It's a lowercase b. So since this side is touching angle A, again, I'm using angle A. So this is the adjacent side. And again, the diagonal is the hype. So I need someone that goes with the adjacent and the hypotenuse. Children are happy, or children are hyper. So we're going to use the cosine, dude. So the cosine of the angle A, but I know that angle, I know it's 31, is what? The adjacent side, which is B, over the hypotenuse side, which is 28. And here's where a lot of people screwed up. They decided they trade places with these. You can't divide here, right? This is the true crisscross multiplication. In order to get B alone, you multiply both sides by 28. So I'm going to put the 28 over by where the cosine is. This is why quite a few people got a wrong answer on this one. I'm trying to really make sure my B doesn't look like a 6. So now I'm just going to do 28 times cos 31. You know, some people will put cos 31 and then hit equal and then hit times 28. You don't need to do all that. You can do 28 times cosine 31. I mean, it comes out quite nice in the calculator. You don't have, that's why I use this particular calculator, because it'll do it all in one shot. Wow, that's awesome. Look at how many zeros are there. 24.0000. That's 24. So the missing side, and you know what? It does make sense, because the hypotenuse is 24. This side should be, you know, certainly not too far away from that. You know, maybe 17, 18, 19. 24 is cool. This is the biggest side of the 3. So, you know, if you somehow got B to be, you know, 30, you can't have a bigger side than the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is the biggest side. So again, just ask yourself real quick if the answer you get makes sense, because some of you did weird things, like you did like 28 divided by cosine 31, or you did cosine 31 divided by, yeah, that's what I saw a lot. I saw cosine 31 divided by 28. So here, I saw people actually give me this answer. And you think that side is 0.03? It just doesn't make sense, right? You always ask yourself, does the answer that I got make sense? And I got 24. It does make sense. All right, so that is the end. I'm going to go splice this into the video and hope it comes out seamlessly.